All right. Hey, this is Tracy King, the cash flow guru, coming back. I'm here with Tanner Jaws, my co-host.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back.
All right. So in this podcast, now we've had a couple already, and if you haven't saw those, you can go back and listen to them and see what all we benefits and value that we brought to the table.
Yeah, you can find us pretty much anywhere that podcasts are available. Obviously, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Google, the whole 9 yards. We're all over.
So we're all about talking to you about the Smoky Mountains, investing in this area, how to help you to get into a cash flow position, what to look for in cabins, how to make the right choice, how to pick the winners, how to find those that aren't performing well and turn them into
how to identify losers and make them winners.
That's where the real money's at. And so we have experience in that. Both of us are investors, and we also have properties here that's on the overnight rental program with Smoky Vistas.
Correct.
And we'll talk to you more about those different companies that we, full disclosure, have ownership in.
Yep.
And so we have developed a one-stop shop for our investors, our clients. And so that is, we have, of course, the real estate company, and we have the overnight rental property company called Smoky Vistas. We have the mortgage company called Integrity Mortgage Group, and we have insurance company called All Seasons Insurance Group.
Yep.
So let's just talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the importance of the insurance. So I know that property values has went way up over the last couple of years, and most people have not thought about checking up in their coverage. And all of a sudden, you're way undervalued, way under insured.
Extremely.
So I would highly recommend whether if you have a property in Tennessee, we can help you. If not, we can't. But if I would highly recommend, if you have a property here in Tennessee, call us at 865-365-2280. We'll get you connected with All Seasons Insurance Group. But even if you live out of state, you should.
And you have property here.
And you have if you live out of state and you have property, in another state, your personal revenue, whatever, you should go ahead and check the value and make sure you're covered, because you probably don't have enough coverage, and you may not even have the right coverage. So that's important to make sure you check those. I would highly recommend that. Don't get caught with being undervalued. So I had one just recently. We were building a place, and we had to, really talk to the insurance guy, and this is what we're doing and how much per square feet. And we're like, what he had on there was like not near enough. It was about like $400,000 short. That would have been painful.
Painful.
Just another benefit, rich reason and value that you need to be listening to this podcast. So there you go. That's that one up front. Let's talk about rental managers and what makes for a good rental management company. So Tanner, you and I have experienced other rental management companies before we opened up Smoky Vistas, and we understand from one point, we understand it personally as a property owner, and also all the people that you and I have helped buy property and understand their pain points as well, working with, because there's a couple of hundred of property managers here.
Ridiculous.
And so you've got, really, really big property managers, and you have really, really small ones. And it's, everybody has a different way how they do things, but, helping all the clients I've helped all throughout the years, I've had them come back to me and just even ask me, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And I was resistant for a while, but finally we caved in and we did it. So finding what makes for a good rental management. Well, one is there's a couple things. You have to make sure they know how to price properties so they're not leaving money on the table. Occupancy rate, getting the cabin booked, but then taking care of the property.
Right.
And that's where I've seen where it's hard to, it seems like it was hard for people to balance that, where taking care of the property, but renting it to the max. And I feel like we've dialed that in with Smoky Vistas, but, we've seen them to where they just, it's like a puppy mill, just running people in and out and in and out, and just, cabin makes some money, but then the owner's having to stroke a check trying to fix stuff.
Yep.
So
yeah, you can, there is such thing as overoccupied. I think when it comes to these things is you could rent it extremely cheap and put 300 families through it in a year. And that cabin is just, you're done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wear and tear on that. 300 different people coming in and out.
Yeah. I've seen that happen with new cabins. People just, and just like in a year, really in a year, you see, and you're like, oh my goodness. Yep. So, we're very, conscious about that. So, there's that, there's a balancing act there. Yeah. I think the finding the right rental cabin manager, and I'm not saying Smoky Vistas is like the perfect one or the best one or the whatever. It's that we are in the top.
Yeah. We're aware of what needs to happen.
We are definitely aware because we've seen all sides of it. We've experienced it, we know exactly what it takes to rent a cabin, what makes it tick, what's going to bring in the cash. But we also know how to take care of them.
Yes.
And I think I pride ourselves on that fact. We talked about in the last podcast where we have a insurance program where the guests pay for it. This is no cost to the owner, and it's paid for by the guest. There's no exceptions. They have to buy it, and it's up to $10,000 of liability if there's any damage to the cabin. Now it's damage. It's not stolen stuff, but it's damage. So with the damage, it's up to $10,000. There's also $1 million liability over. So if somebody slips on the steps and whatever, that's the first insurance company we're going to go to,
right?
Besides your primary carrier of the insurance company. So there's a lot of benefit to the owner that we bring with that product. And you and I both talked about instances.
Yeah. So on the last episode where we were talking about new tables, being purchased by the insurance company and new sleeper sofas. I've seen, mattresses, washers. Stuff
stoves.
Yeah,
we
stuff
had
up
one.
to $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember damaged. We had one. It was a stove, and the guest just, I don't know what they cooked inside that stove, but we couldn't get it clean. It run it. You couldn't stand it. So we got a new stove. We had a microwave, do the same thing, so there's this, there's things that happen, and, you can avoid it as much as possible, but eventually it's going to happen. But the good news is that we have found a solution to that issue where it's not the owner having to pay out money every single time something happens in the cabin.
Because that's typical.
It is. Now, when it comes to stolen stuff, what we've done is we take pictures. So I know a lot of companies say that they do inspections at their every guest check out and check in, before the check in and check out. We actually do it. We have time-stamped pictures to where our inspectors go in and we're taking pictures of the clean and of the property. So if a guest checks in, and then when the guest checks out and we have something missing that would normally be in the picture, I'm telling you, it's hard
back on that guest.
Yeah, it's hard for them to deny it. And but we don't have much of that. We have really good guests, but it has happened.
But
it's there. And we just, they just kind of like, don't fight it because we got you. So with that, we're just saying, we're really all about taking care of the owners.
Right.
And, there's so many millions of people come here. There's people that we put on the blacklist that we never, ever will rent to again.
Yeah. And that's also through that insurance company.
That it is. Mm-hmm. And then we have, so we're very particular about the guests who rent our owners' properties. And we just make sure that, everything we can do to take care of the owners. And that's what we do. No nickel and diming, I didn't like that. I know you didn't like that when you had, I just drove me nuts. And then
air filters, light bulbs.
Yeah. Come on. And so, all that stuff, we just learn how to negate all that. Let's see. So really what you need to do is, I know a lot of people say, well, just ask the real estate company or the real estate agent. Well, ask the question to the real estate agent if they're getting compensated for referring to the rental company. Yeah.
So I'm just going to refer you to someone who's going to pay me the most amount of money.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That you need to ask that question. And then, but there's good rental companies out there. They are good. And most of the time you can just look online, look for reviews. That'll tell you a lot.
Right.
Let's talk about, because I call that the hands-off approach for an investor or for someone who owns a property or they want the hands-off. Like, I don't have time to self-manage.
Same.
If I, even when we didn't own a rental company, we used a rental company because I don't have time. You don't have time to self-manage. And so we don't do that. We like the hands-off approach.
I did try it out.
I know you did.
I did self-manage. I tried. Yeah. It lasted about 7 days.
Yeah.
And I gave it up.
I gave it up. Yeah. So,
but it's like for sale by owner. Most people want to see, well, I'll do it myself and save all the commissions, right?
That's right.
It doesn't work. You end up losing money because you don't know what you're doing. You may not have the time.
You didn't price it right.
You're not a professional.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, you might be, and you might be successful at it, but the mass majority of people who do it are not necessarily professional at that. Their full-time job is something else, and this is a secondary.
Yeah. I do know people who do this full-time and self-manage, but I will tell you that there's a rude awakening coming soon that, Airbnb and VRBO have doubled the inventory that they have on their site, but they haven't changed their ad spend. So now you have generated, let's say you generated 8 guests, for every 5 cabins. Now it's 8 guests for every 25 cabins.
Yeah.
If you want to put it in perspective, it's that much difference. It's a big gap. So you don't have the distributionship that you should have. Get enough eyes on your property because you're getting buried. Your property's getting buried.
Overflow of
yes, all that. Yeah, it's doubled. So, I think that also, you could self-manage. You could do that. But if you don't know how to do direct bookings, you're leaving money on the table, and that's going to prove out. It's probably already proven out to people right now. This is 2022 and in October.
Yep.
And people are already seeing like, I'm not doing the same numbers I should be doing that I've always done with my Airbnb or VRBO.
Right.
And that's the reason for it. So there you go.
And there's
still benefits and values.
Like we said, there's still 14 million people coming to our town.
Yeah, there's meat on the bone.
Somewhere.
Yeah, they're staying somewhere. They're just not staying with you,
right?
Because they can't find you. And Airbnb and VRBO has not increased their ad spend, and so that's the difference,
right?
And so in this area in particular, direct booking works the best. So, if you're looking for a property management company that does direct booking, it's not saying that we don't use the levers of Airbnb and VRBO and all the other what they call OTAs, online travel agencies.
Yep.
We use several of them, but that's not the main source. Our main source is direct booking. And so
marketing.
Yes,
the main source is marketing, not advocation of marketing.
That's correct. Which is marketing is something that we've always been strong in. So the fact of the matter is, direct booking is going to really improve your booking rate. It brings you, dare I say, a better quality guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it does. And and it also gives you more control of that guest because if you're managing yourself, you don't have control. You don't have that guest. You don't have their credit card. Airbnb does.
And you're also at their beck and call for that 5-star review.
That's right.
Hey, what happens if a guest right now shows up in an Airbnb and they think something's wrong with the property?
Well, what if they just make stuff up just because they want a discount? How many times has that happened to you as an Airbnb, VRBO person? Because they're just out to just get a discount.
Airbnb works for
the
renters.
Guest. That's correct.
That is who their clientele is.
Yeah. So I'm telling you right now, we learned this experience that Airbnb and VRBO, great companies. I'm not knocking them. I use them. When I search for stuff, I do, but I try to go find that property and book direct. Yep. And the thing about it is that they, like Tanner, you're saying, they are not for the owner.
Right.
They are not. The owner is, they're just not. They're not for you.
Right. It's very similar to Zillow.
Right.
With real estate agents. Zillow, their clientele is buyers. That's who they tend to.
Right. Not agents.
They don't tend to agents.
Nope. So there you go. Some more benefit that we brought to the table that maybe you guys didn't know or haven't experienced. So let's talk about the let's continue talking about self-management. So you do that. Let's say you live in I don't know. Let's say Florida. Let's say you live in Florida and you have a property here, and so you're doing self-management, and you found a cleaner. And the cleaner's, doing a good job.
So we're already saying you've already found your cleaner.
You found your cleaner. You already found him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, but something happens, and the cleaner
are sick.
They don't show up. They just walk away for whatever reason. Now, what do? You're in Florida.
I'm going on Facebook, I guess, right?
You're going to find somebody, clean my cabin, get it, and then most likely you're not going to make it in time, and you're going to get a bad review. Yep. That's the way it is. You have to have some boots on the ground here for that. You got to have, what if you got a cleaner and they just, they miss something? What if
you're not checking it? You ain't coming behind them checking.
What if you have a guest inside your cabin and they need something that has always been there, but now it's not? Let's say something in the kitchen that they just need, and they call them. What are you going to do? You're going to run up here from Florida and take it to them?
Nope.
You think, most cleaners aren't going to do that. They're not going to, they're not at your beck and call.
No.
So that's the problem. Some of the problem I've got, we live here in Sevier County. I mean,
it still takes a lot of time just to get to one of the cabins.
Well, but even though, I don't drive by my cabins all the time.
I don't either.
I mean, the last time I went to, I think I've been into, there's one I haven't been to in months. There's one that's even local in town. I just went into and haven't been into it in months, just stopping in and checking. And it was in good shape. But, I'm just saying that, I live here and I didn't self-manage. I just didn't do it. So
it's not as easy as just putting it on Airbnb, which is, I think, the misconception. People just think they can just put it on there and I'm good.
I'm going to tell you, for 2021, that worked. For 2021,
with guest complaints,
but still, they made 2021 it worked.
Yep.
All they had to do is get it on Airbnb and VRBO, and it booked. But now that's not the case. Why? Well, two reasons. It's shifted. Yep. We're down a little bit this year in 2022. The second part of it, because of inflation in the economy, and then again, like I said, Airbnb and VRBO stacked it up. They've got twice as much inventory as they had before, as they had in 2021. So that's
all those people bought in 2021.
That's right.
Now they're renting it out.
Yeah, everybody's so
they haven't adjusted.
Nope, they haven't adjusted. So now you're in a place where you can't get enough eyes on your property. You're going to start, and if you haven't already, you're already going to start filling it to where, your bookings are going to go down. Income you was making is going to go down, and you need to figure it out.
Yeah, ADR. There's a lot of things involved with it. You got to watch. It's.
Hey, did you know it costs more money to book? Like if I'm a guest, it costs me more money to book with Airbnb and VRBO than it would if I went direct.
Why is that? What's the deal with that?
They charge 15% on top.
Airbnb charges 15% on top.
VRBO and Airbnb. I don't know how much VRBO charges, but I know Airbnb's 15%.
They've got those commissions built in.
They got commissions built in.
So if I book direct, I'm not paying that.
That's
15%.
correct. Yeah, and just think if you could direct book. So if I'm going to compete with Airbnb and VRBO, what if I charged just 8% less? How much more did I make the owner?
Yeah.
Right. So let's say I went to VRBO and I booked my cabin. I placed my cabin on there, and let's just use a number, $300 a night. All right. I went to $300 a night, but it's not $300 a night. It's $350 whatever that 15% is on top of that.
Right.
I can't do the math that quick.
Yeah,
345.
Here, let me do it.
345.
Show the numbers.
I don't know. Run the numbers. But so you run the numbers.
345.
Oh
big
man,
boy,
I
look
guess
at you.
I guess I am good.
Like you know,
there we
cash
go.
flow guru.
That's
over
it.
here.
All right. So at 345, I'm paying the guest is paying for that. Now, if the guest came to me direct and I charged 325, but my normal number is 300, but I charged 325, did I make more money for my owner?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. There you go. So there's and then the owners are thinking, okay, well, yeah, but I'm paying you a percentage to manage the cabin. Yes, but you're also going to net more because I know how to do it. I know the tricks of the trade. I know how to get more out of your cabin for you than you just going to VRBO or Airbnb or whatever.
Yeah, so it sounds like owners should not be as concerned with what do you charge me versus how much am I going to be making.
It's all about the net.
What's in my pocket?
It's all about the net. How much more am I as Smoky Vista is going to net in my pocket? And the net could be like, there's the non-nickel and diming, all these different fees that's being charged, even by Airbnb and VRBO,
right.
All these different fees. It eats in your pocket. It eats up occupancy because, and then you're competing in the same pool. So everybody's going into the same swimming pool looking for a place to stay. But what if we played in a different pool where there's not all these cabins in, and we're doing direct booking and direct marketing. We're directly marketing to people who normally come here or have come here, along with generating new guests.
Right.
So there's a big benefit to that, and you need to take a look at it if you are doing self-management. I would have you to think about that. And if you're looking for a rental company, well, we recommend Smoky Vistas. So
10 out of 10 times I would.
Yes, well, then 10 times out of 10. So smokyvistas.com, you could go there and book direct. Book direct at smokyvistas.com. Book direct and save yourself some money on the next time you're going to come to this area. And also, if you're an owner of a property or you're looking at having one in this area, go to smokyvistas.com. Check us out. We have some link in there for owners. You can check that out.
I think you get like rental projections on your current property you've got.
Correct.
So you can like put your own address in there, and somebody from the sales team will reach back out to you.
Reach you back out and provide you a projection of what we feel like your property can do. And if we met and reviewed the property, we can give you suggestions on how to make more money with it. Yeah. So there's a lot of things we can do. Now, listen, you can call or text us at 865-365-2280 to get connected with Smoky Vistas, or you can just go direct to smokyvistas.com. Also, the insurance company we spoke about earlier, All Seasons Insurance Group, you can call us at 865-365-2280. We'll get you connected to the proper person there to make sure you are properly valuing and insured for your property. Because if you haven't checked your insurance in the past year, which most people don't, they just kind of sit it and forget it. You need to get that done. Mm-hmm. And you need also, there's a right way. There's a right coverage for you, not just coverage, but there's the right coverage.
Don't just go for the state minimums. Like you need to actually pay attention to what it is you're getting insured on.
Right.
And how much those are.
Yes. All right. So we're going to wrap this one up here soon, but the next one coming up, you want to make sure you are tuned in. We're going to be talking about actual property projections. We're going to show you how the cabins that we're selling right now, some we've already sold, the actual cash flow that is happening. So, to me, when you're doing investment, it is all about the cash flow. It's all about the cash flow. And it's we have different types where people think, all right, there's cash on cash. For instance, I'm paying 20% down. Well, for the most part in our market, you're putting 20% down in 3.5 or less years, you get that back. And, that ratio of ROI is, I don't know, the stock market sure as heck going to do it for you, especially nowadays.
Savings account ain't going to get you that.
The savings account ain't going to do squat. Yeah. So there's no place. What I like about this, it's a cash flow asset. It's an actual asset. It's not a piece of paper. Yep. You can touch it, feel it, walk in it, sleep in it, So I like having an asset, a hard asset, and it'll be one that you can leverage. I like leveraging assets to get more assets. We can talk about that in the podcast some down the road. But I like the fact that it's a cash flowing. We can put you in a cash flow position. Yep. Now, we can't guarantee the economy what's going to do. None of that. I'm just telling you, we can put you in a cash flow position.
Help you identify property.
Help you identify it.
We said are losers, turn them into winners, even winners somewhere else and just take over and continue winning. Yeah. And cash flow. That's the main thing. Passive income. You got to have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, definitely get it. So, this is Tracy King, the cash flow guru, and my co-host Tanner Giles. We're from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty here in Sevierville. Yep. We cover the entire east side of Tennessee, and we have properties that you can't find online just anywhere. And if you're looking for something to invest in, call or text us at 865-365-2280. That's 865-365-2280. And we have properties that you can't find online anywhere.
Not on Zillow, not on Realtor, not on Redfin.
Nowhere.
You can't find them.
Can't find them.
Can't.
But we can direct you to them.
We
can show them to you. Okay, 865-365-2280. Hope you have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.